Good morning, dear students. I hope you all are fine. So, today we are going to start your next topic of grammar, which is sentences. So, in this chapter or in this topic, sentences, we are going to cover the different types of sentences. And before that, what are the different parts of sentences? What is subject and what is predicate of a sentence? So, we will focus upon that, and then we will learn about the different types of sentences: your assertive, imperative, question, exclamatory, or all type of sentences. So let us proceed. First of all, structure of sentence. So if you look at these examples, first one is I love my mother. Second is where have you been. Next is means these kind of such group of words arranged in a specific order so that they make complete sense are called your sentences. What is a sentence? Sentence means to say the words that make a complete sense, a group of words that make a complete sense. So anything that is having any kind of sense, any group of words like I love my mother, it is having a sense. Then where you have been. So like these combination of words or group of words arranged in a specific order so that they make complete sense are called your sentences. So I hope it is clear. Then moving to the next page. So here students, this is a you can say this is like a recapitulation. So some words are given and you have to make a meaningful sentence using these words. So if you look at the first one, in first is planet warmer, the getting is given, means all words are given. What you have to do in this exercise, you just have to arrange these words in a proper order or fashion to make a sense, you can say senseful sentence. So first is planet warmer, the getting. So what we can do with this is that the planet is getting warmer. The planet is getting warmer will be the right answer here. So then if we talk about the next one, next is here the population increasing world the is. So again, if you look at these words, what this sentence is trying to say, this is trying to say that population of the world is increasing. So how we can write this? The world's population is increasing. The world population is increasing. So you can write this sentence like this: the world population is increasing. So third is international English language is an. So in this sentence we are trying to say that English is an international language. So yes, the correct sentence is English is an international language. So if we talk about the fourth one, peace without progress cannot we have. So how we can arrange this sentence? Look at the words carefully. Peace without progress cannot we have. So the sentence will be we cannot have peace without progress. We cannot have peace without progress. And if we talk about the next fifth one, celebrate Republic we great day with pomp, show and the. So we can form this sentence like we celebrate the Republic Day with great pomp and show. We celebrate the Republic Day with great pomp and show. So this will be the correct form of this sentence. Now if we talk about sixth one, like you do to go the two movies. So this is your question or interrogative sentence. How you will form that? So you will write like, do you like to go to the movies? And at the end you will put a question mark. So the sentence will be, do you like to go to the movies? And at the end you will put a question mark. This will be the right answer for these words. So I hope the rearrangement of words to make a meaningful sentences is clear to all of you. You can practice more and more words to make meaningful sentences. So let us move to the next one. Next is here about subject and predicate. So this you have already sometimes you might have learned these kind of things in your previous classes also, subject and predicate. So what are these subject and predicate? So for example, the person or thing named is called the subject of the sentence, and what we say about person or thing is called the predicate. So basically we divide sentence into two parts. One part is called subject of the sentence, rest of the part of the sentence is called predicate of the sentence. So now what is your subject and what is your predicate? How you will judge that this part is subject and this is predicate? So how you will decide that? So what is subject? Subject is the person or the thing named, means name of any person or name of anything, or for example if we are using pronoun at the place of that person name, so that things, those words are your subject. And what we say about the person or thing, what we are talking about that person or thing in that particular sentence, that will be the predicate of that sentence. So I hope it is clear to you that the person name or the thing name is subject, and what we are talking about that thing or person is your predicate of the sentence. So if you look at these sentences now, Priya dances, Rafi sings beautifully, next is the three men sailed in the boat, like this. So in these sentences, the red letters, the words written with red color, Priya, Rafi, the three men, these are your subject, and rest of the sentence like dances, sings beautifully, sailed in a boat, these are your predicate. Because if you look at the first sentence, Priya dances, so in this sentence Priya is a name of a person or girl, and the rest of the part is describing what she is doing. So she is dancing, she dances, so that is why dances is your predicate. Rafi sings beautifully, so Rafi is again the name of the person, so that is why it is your subject. And sings beautifully is a kind of thing that the person is doing, so again this is your predicate. And same goes with the third sentence, the three men sailed in the boat, means three men means to say we are talking about three persons, and sailed in a boat is the work that is being done by the people, or the information that we are conveying in this sentence about those three people, so that is why sailed in a boat is a predicate of this sentence. So I hope it is clear to you. Let us move to the next one now. Next again, now there is one more example of subject and predicate. In a sentence, subject usually come first and is followed by predicate. So in the most of the sentence, when you read those sentences, you will notice or you will observe that most of the time the subject come at the starting of the sentence and rest of the sentence is your predicate. But sometimes it is different. Sometimes what happens that the subject comes at the end and predicate comes in the starting. So how sometimes how it may be placed after the predicate. So this is often used in literary or poetic expressions, means poets when they write poems, so they do these kind of things, they put the subject at the end and predicate before that subject. So this happens like around the garden ran the naughty children, or silently flowed the river. So here it's not like that the always that starting portion of the sentence will be subject. No, you have to find, you have to read the sentence carefully, and then you have to judge that what part of the sentence is your subject. So in both of these sentences, subject is the last part of the sentence. Around the garden the run the naughty children, and in second silently flowed the river. So here the naughty children, the river, these are again your subjects written in the red colored letters, and the letters written in blue color, around the garden ran, silently flowed, these are your predicate. Then next is an exercise about subject and predicate. What you have to do in this exercise, students, you have to circle the subject and underline the predicate of the sentence. So try to read these sentences carefully. First is Tarun is quite late. So in first sentence we are talking about a person, and the name of the person is Tarun, and rest of the sentence is telling about the you can say about that Tarun, or what he was doing or not. So Tarun is quite late. So here in this sentence Tarun is your subject and rest of the part is your predicate. So I hope it is clear to you. Next is out of the tree flew the birds. So now look at this sentence carefully, students. Now you have to observe the subject carefully in this one, because subject is not always the starting part of the sentence, as I have already told you. So out of the tree flew the birds. So here the word birds is again your subject. Why? Because we are talking about birds in this sentence, and rest of the part is your predicate. This is your predicate. Next is the lost child cried helplessly. So here is no problem. The lost child is your subject and the cried helplessly is your predicate. Next is the mountains rose into the blue sky. So again, the mountains is your subject and we are talking about mountains in the rest of the part of the sentence. So that is why it is your predicate. Next is little Nina laughed happily. So again, name of a person is appearing in the starting of the sentence. So little Nina will be your subject. We will circle this, and laughed happily is the activity that is being done by Nina. So it will be your predicate, and we will underline laughed happily. Next is down the river went the troop of children. So now look at this sentence again carefully. Down the river went the troop of the children. Troop means group of the children. So here this troop of children is your subject and rest of the part down the river went the it is your predicate. And in last one, I hope you can do this easily. This is very easy sentence. The child ate the cake hungrily. So yes, what could be the answer here? So yes, the child is the subject and ate the cake hungrily is your predicate. So I hope it is clear to you. You will be able to find subject and predicates easily. Next is types of sentences. Now we have done about the, you can say, formation of the sentence, that which part is subject and which is predicate. Next is your types of sentences. So we have divided sentences into four parts. One is your first is your declarative or assertive sentences, then second is imperative sentences, third is interrogative or question sentences, and fourth is your exclamatory sentences. So now we will read about these sentences one by one in detail. So first one is your declarative or assertive sentences. So what are these sentences? Sentences that state something are called declarative or assertive. So any sentence in which you are declaring something, in which you are stating something, that sentence is called your declarative or assertive sentence. So for example, now they have given you a declarative sentences make only a statement. So this may be a yes statement or an affirmative statement. It could be a no statement. For example, we will look at these examples. So what they are saying, what they're trying to say in these two lines, they are talking about what kind of a declarative sentence may be. So it may be either a yes statement or affirmative statement, simple statement, or it can be a no statement also, having the words not, never, none, these kind of words. So it can be a no statement or negative statement or positive or affirmative statement. So for example, Father John is the principal of the school. Father John is the principal of the school. This is simple statement, yes statement or affirmative statement. And second is I did not eat the cake. So if we look at this sentence, I did not eat the cake. Here not is coming, so it is your negative statement. But both of these are your assertive or declarative statements. So I hope this is clear to you. Next is, now there are some rules, students, how you can change the assertive to negative. Means if the statement is given in positive sense, simple statement is given, how you will make a negative from that. So there are different rules for different type of sentences. So let us look at these rules one by one. First is form of the verb be and have changed to the negative by adding not or its shortened form not after the verb. So what they are saying, that if you are having forms of verbs be or have, they change to the negative by adding not after that verb. So Peter isn't a good athlete. So here there is a helping verb in this sentence, which is. So we will do one thing to make it negative. So yes, students, if we talk about this sentence, Peter isn't a good athlete, here verb is a helping verb is. And what according to rule we were saying that we will put a word not after the verb. So yes, we have put a word not in a short form, which is an apostrophe T. You can write simply not like this. So Peter isn't a good athlete. And similarly with the next sentences also, they are not at home today, are plus not, then Aarti hasn't a clue about the party. So like this you will put a word not, or in a short form an apostrophe t with the verb. So next is when helping verbs are used with the main verb, change the sentence to the negative by adding not or its shortened form an apostrophe t between the auxiliary verb and the main verb. So now they are saying that what we have to do in case of the sentences where we are having helping verbs also and main verbs. So Kajal is not baking a cake. What we have to do in this sentence, we have the helping verb is also and the main verb baking also. What we have to do in these kind of sentences, we will put a word not between auxiliary verb and main verb. Auxiliary verb means to say your helping verb like is, am, are, was, were, has, have. These are your auxiliary verbs, and main verb like go, bake, or plan, or like these kind of things. So these are your main verbs, and what you have to do here, you will put a word not between auxiliary and the main verb. Similarly in the second sentence, the Vermas are not planning a holiday now. So Vermas are not planning a holiday now, are not planning, are plus not plus planning. Are is your helping verb, not word negative word, and planning is your main verb. So I hope it is clear to you. Moving to the next page, again there are some rules related. Same rules means changing the assertive to negative. So again, first is in sentences which do not have helping verb, the appropriate form of auxiliary verb do and the word not are added before the main verb. In such cases, the helping verb do changes according to person, number, or tenses, while the main verb changes to its base form. So how it will work? Let us take the example, and then it will become clear to you. For example, if the sentence is like Mrs. Ghosh teaches art. So now there is no helping verb in this sentence. So what we will do? We will put a do helping verb, do or does, according to that sentence. So if the sentence is present form, we will put the helping verb do or does. If it is in past tense, then we will put did. So like this we will put the helping verb from our side, and then we put a not after that helping verb, as we are doing in earlier cases. So helping verb plus not वाली form ही रहेगी, but what we have to do in these kind of sentences, extra what we have to do is that we have to put helping verb from our side. So either that helping verb will be a do or does according to the first means present tense, and it could be a did if you are talking about the past tense. So first is Mrs. Ghosh teaches art. Mrs. Ghosh does not teach art. So Mrs. Ghosh is a singular, and with singular person we use does. With plural subject or with plural subject we use do. So it is clear to you, I think it is already known to you that in case of singular subject we use does, and in case of plural subject we use do. For example, if I say they do not come today, so they is a plural subject. Here we will use the helping verb do, not does. They does not nahi hota, they do not. So Mrs. Ghosh is a singular subject, so we will use does here. So Mrs. Ghosh does not teach art. Next is couple bought a new car. Again there is no helping verb in this sentence also, so we will put a helping verb from our side. Now bought is given, buy, bought, bought. Buy, bought means bought is the second form of the buy, so it is a past tense, so we will put did here. So we will put simply did not. So Kapil did not buy a new car. Next is Rahat went shopping. Again went, go, went, gone means went is a past tense, and this sentence is a past form, so we will simply write did not. Rahat did not go shopping. So I hope it is clear to you. Next, another category of sentences when modals like can, could, may, should, or these kind of modals are used in affirmative sentences, the word not is added between modal and the main verb. So there is no difficulty in this kind of sentences. If you are having any kind of modal like can, could, may, might, shall, should, would, these kind of modals are present in the sentences, what you will do, you will just put the not word after that modal. For example, Tanya can write well, Tanya cannot write well. So like this we will do this. Then we may go to Chennai next week, we may not go to Chennai next week. We simply put the word not after that. Sorry, after that modal, like may not, cannot, could not, should not, like this. So moving to the next one, next is your students, now change affirmative into negative and vice versa. What does it mean? Means either if the affirmative is given, you have to change that sentence into negative one, or if the negative is given, then you have to do the reverse of that, means you will change that negative into affirmative one. So if you look at the first sentence, he does not attend school regularly. So does not word is given, means it is negative. If the not word is present, it means it is negative. And what you have to do in this sentence, you will change the sentence into affirmative. He does not attend school regularly means, how you will write this sentence in affirmative form? He attends school regularly. So you will cut this does not, you will simply write he attends school regularly. Then if we talk about second, we have no time. Again it is a negative, no word is here, so we have no time. And how will you change it into positive one? So we have time, simply we will cut this no. So we have time is the right answer here. Then the young man is honest in his work. Now if you look at the third sentence, it is already affirmative, so we have to make the negative of this. So what we will do, we will put a word not, and where we will put the word not? After the helping verb. A helping verb is here. So the young man is not honest. Not honest means not word after is. So next is the floods come every year. So here is no helping verb is given, and what we have to do, we have to put a word do or does here, because this is in present sentence of present tense form. So we will put a word do or does. So what we will do or does? Again out of do and does, you have to choose the correct one. So floods, the floods is given, subject is plural, the floods. So you will use the word do. The floods do not come every year. Then fifth is I have not seen the York Fall. I haven't seen the jog fall. So haven't means it is already negative, and you have to you can say make this sentence positive or affirmative. So how will you do that? I have seen the jog fall. You will simply cut the not word. So you will write have seen I have seen the jog fall. Next is Ashraf will not attend the party. So Ashraf will attend the party. You will simply cut this word not, and it will be a simple affirmative sentence. So I hope it is clear to you, and this is very easy. Then next is your imperative sentences. Second kind of sentences, your imperative sentences. So what are these imperative sentences? Expresses a request or advice or give order or a command. So it expresses either a request or advice, or it give order or command. Order or command is one and same thing. So how means one thing that you have to remember more about these is that ends either with a full stop simply, or sometimes with an exclamation sign. Exclamation sign means this one. Let me change the color of this pen. So exclamation sign means this one, means one stick type something, and then at the end we have a dot. This dot is not possible, this is not possible to draw at this time properly. So look at this one. I hope it is clear now. So yes, get out of the room. Get out of the room. I am ordering someone. Get out of the room. So it's a command or it's an order. So in this we will put an you can say exclamation mark. Or second is always speak the truth. This is an advice. I will simply advise you to speak truth. So always speak the truth. It's a advice. Then please switch on the fan. So it's a request. So if you are using please word, it is a request. So please switch on the fan is a request. So these sentences are your imperative sentences. So I hope it is clear to you. These are the three examples of imperatives. Next is, now what you have to do, you have given some sentences, change the following sentences into imperatives. So again what you have to do, you have to change these sentences into imperatives. So first one is they were told to open their books. So what we can write this sentence in imperative form. So how we can write this sentence in imperative form? Like simply open your books. If I say students open your books, so this is a command given by a teacher, so you can write like this. Second is you are requested to help the poor. So we are requesting, and how you can request by using the word please. So you can simply write please help the poor, so it will be an imperative. Then third is we should not walk on the grass, so it's an advice, so we can simply give the advice do not walk on the grass. So simple advice, do not walk on the grass is the right answer here. Next is the teacher ordered the students to stop talking. So what we can do in this sentence, we can simply, if the teacher says, teachers don't say like this, teachers order the students to not to talk or stop talking. So teachers simply say, what we say, stop talking. We say this word with the emphasis, so we simply say stop talking and with emphasis. That is why we will put an exclamation sign at the end of this sentence, so it will be an imperative. Next is we should not take medicine without a doctor's advice. So again it's an advice, so we can simply give advice someone, we can simply give advice to someone like don't take medicine without doctor's advice. So simply don't take medicine without doctor's advice will be the right answer here. So I hope it is clear to you. So let us move to the next one. Next category is your interrogative sentences. Next is your interrogative sentences or your question sentences, which means at the end you will have a question mark. So what are these sentences now? Sentences that ask question are called interrogatives. Any kind of sentences which is asking any kind of question, that is your interrogative sentences. And an interrogative sentences always end with a question mark, so it will end with your question mark. So then interrogative sentences may also be negative. They can be negative, there is no need that means question always positive ही होगा, there is no compulsion like such that. So it can be negative also. So for example, where are you going, आप कहाँ जा रहे हो, why did you turn off the music, आपने music बंद क्यों कर दिया, hasn't the train arrived yet, so this is negative now, okay, train अभी तक आई नहीं. So like this the questions are the, you can say interrogative sentences are which those ask question, and it can be negative also, as in case of third, hasn't the train arrived yet. So how to make interrogative now, what are the different rules to make sentences interrogative, how you can make a sentence interrogative, so let us learn about that. So to form interrogative or question, we change the position of subject and verb so that subject Tina comes after the verb is. So if you are saying that Tina is playing, so how will you make a question from this? Simply what you do, you will put the subject in between somewhere, and you will put the helping verb at the starting of the sentence. You will change its position of subject and helping verb. So you will simply write, is Tina playing, and question mark at the end, it will become your question. So in assertive sentences that have helping verb or auxiliary verb like is, am, are, has, have, had, was, were, the question starts with the helping verb. So if we are having any statement, and so students, yes, if the affirmative sentences like the sentences are having helping verbs like is, am, are, was, were, has, have, had, these verbs are present, helping verbs are present, then the question will begin with these words, the question will start with these words. So similarly in the sentences that have words like can, could, may, might, will, would, shall, should, these words are present, then these models are you can say these modal auxiliary will act like helping verbs, or these questions will start with these words similarly. So either if your question, if your sentences are containing is, am, are, then is, am, are will come at the start of the sentence. If the sentences are containing can, could, may, might, or should words, so these words will come at the starting. So let us take a look at the example. First is Prabhu is eating an apple, so simply is the helping verb, is here helping verb, so we will put is at the starting of the sentence, and at end of the sentence we will put a question mark. So is Prabhu eating an apple will be your question. Second is I have 10 rupees, have you 10 rupees, or more commonly do you have 10 rupees, so it will be more right or better than that. So you can say simply say have you 10 rupees or do you have 10 rupees. Then there are 5 apples in the basket, are there 5 apples in the basket, simply we will put the are helping verb at the starting of the sentence. Then Chimpu has eaten all the cake. So again, has is the word, modal word, you can say, sorry, helping verb is given, so has will be at the starting of the sentence. Has Chimpu eaten all the cake? And question mark. Then next is Rahil should join the coaching class. Should Rahil join the coaching class? So should will become, you can say, should will come at the start of the sentence. They will call later. Will they call later? Yes. Will is your helping verb and it will come at the starting of the sentence. So will they call later is the right answer here. So then, when no helping verb, so what you will do? In earlier cases we are having helping verbs, and what we are doing to form a question, we are just putting those helping verbs at the starting of the sentences. But in second category, what you will do, how you will make a question or interrogative when you are having no helping verb in the sentence. So what you will do, so look at these again. When forming a question for assertive sentences that do not have helping verb, the helping verb do is used in the beginning of the question. Again, if you don't have any helping verb, what you will do in kind of, in you can say, in case of present tenses, you will do one thing. Either you will put do word or does according to the subject, singular or plural. So Shalini sings well. Does Shalini sings well? So simply you will use the word does, because here Shalini is the subject and this is singular. So does is will be, or does is the right option here to choose out of do and does. So does Shalini sings well or sing well? It will be your like question will be like this. And in second case, in such sentences, the helping verb changes according to person, number, or means tense, according, as we have already discussed. Means it will change according to singular, plural also. It will change according to the tense also. If you are using present tense, if the sentence is present, in present tense form, you will use do, does, or if the sentence is in past tense form, you will use was, were. Sorry, you will use did, not was, were, you will use did. So Mr. Rao went to the market, and you will use word did. And because was is a helping verb, अगर was है तो कोई प्रॉब्लम ही नहीं है, तो हमने was को ही आगे ले आना है. We are talking about those sentences which are having no helping verb. So if that sentence is in present form, you will use the word do, does. And if that sentence is having a past tense form, then you will use the word did. So this machine makes coffee. Does this machine make coffee? We watch a movie every Saturday. Do we watch a movie every Saturday? So I hope it is clear to you. Then form interrogative sentences. Now it's your task to utilize or implement what you have gained till now. So there is an exercise and you have to form interrogative sentences here. So first is Geeta can dance well. Can Geeta dance well? So you will simply do one thing. Can will come at the starting of the sentence, and at the end you will put a question mark. Can Geeta dance well? Very well. So then they have won the match. They have won the match. Again we are having the word have, and we will write this word at the starting. Have they won the match? Then this is a good book. Is this a good book? Is will come at the starting. We should obey our parents. Should we obey our parents? Charu goes to a dance class every day. Now look at this sentence. There is no helping verb in this sentence. So what we will do, because this sentence is in present form, so Charu is a singular subject. What we will do, we will write a word does at the starting, and the sentence will be like, does Charu go to a class or go to a dance class every Friday? So the sentence, interrogative sentence will be, does Charu go to dance class every day? And at the end you will put a question mark in all cases, in all the 5 sentences. Then next is your exclamatory sentences. So now what are these sentences, where we use these sentences? So sentences that expresses strong feeling are called your exclamatory sentences. Means any kind of strong emotion or feeling you want to express, whether happiness or sadness or wonder, surprise, or any kind of caution. So you will use your exclamatory sentences in those cases, and you will put the exclamatory mark at the end of the sentence. Exclamatory mark, you can say one line and a full stop at the end of this line. So for example, hooray India has won the match. So we are, when we are in joy, when we are delighted or happy, so we exclaim that happiness with the help of this word hooray. So hooray, India has won the match. Then alas, I am undone. So alas is used to express the sorrow when you are in, when you are having sadness, so anything that is not good happening with you, so you will use this word alas, or alas, we lost the match, or anything like this. Then if you, what a horrible death, horror means what you want to express horror or surprise. At that time you can use the sentence like this: what a horrible death, what a beautiful scene. If you want to exclaim about the wonder, or you want to express the beauty of something, so you will simply say what a beautiful scene, or what a beautiful flower it is. So like this. Then beware, he is going to hit you. So if you want to give someone caution or warning, so these kind of words are written. Sometimes you might have observed these words, like some people write these words at their door also. Those who are having dogs at their home, be aware of dogs. So this is again your caution or warning: beware of dogs. Or here it is: beware, he is going to hit you, कि वो आपको मारने आ रहा है, beware. Then oh dear, you are hurt. So if you are having any kind of concern with any person, so you will simply use these kind of words: oh dear, then exclamation, then surprise. In case of surprise, what a pleasant surprise. So like this, all these words you can use to express your feelings or emotions in a better way, using these exclamatory sentences. So I hope it is clear to you. So then last but not the least, you have to rewrite the following sentences as exclamation, using exclamatory signs and all the words that you can use. So first is, I have committed a blunder. Blunder, what is the meaning of blunder, students? Blunder means to say a big mistake. Sometimes we foolishly or unknowingly do some kind of big mistake, so that is called your blunder. So I have committed a blunder. If you have committed any mistake or blunder, you will definitely get sad for that. So how you will change this sentence to exclamatory form? You will simply write, alas, I have committed a blunder. So you will write, alas, I have committed a blunder. Next is, it is a beautiful day. So you can simply write, what a beautiful day. What a beautiful day. Next is, third one is, I hope God blesses you. So if you want to give some blessing, so we simply say, may God bless you. So may God bless you will be the right answer here. Then it is sad that he could not make it to the top of the Everest. So again it is sad, it is written in the sentence itself that it is sad, so we will use the word alas. Alas, he could not make it to the top of the Everest. So like this. Then the Taj Mahal is beautiful, so we can simply write, wow, how beautiful Taj Mahal is. So I hope it is clear to you. This is all about your sentences, and I hope it is everything, or everything is clear to you. If there is any doubt, you can repeat this video. So thanks for watching and have a nice day.